Hey guys, did you know that I have a Patreon where you can support me and plus get awesome rewards? Or if you're thinking to yourself, but Julian, I want even more bang for my buck while still supporting you, you can pop over to my Redbubble and check out my awesome store with new designs appearing regularly. But for now, enjoy the video you're about to watch. Alright everyone, you know the drill. This is YouTube, so it's time for a disclaimer. We are about to go into a critical reading of The Cellar, so if this happens to be your favorite book and you cannot stand to see it ripped apart, now it's time to go. Thanks for playing. The rest of you, enjoy the show. Hey guys, it's Thanksgiving Day and we are reading Chapter 7 of The Cellar, and I decided to stop pretending that Adam isn't here and just like put him in the shot, so now you see him.
Hello.
All scruffy and unshaven. What video game are you playing, Adam?
I'm playing Surviving Mars.
Cool. It's not cool. It's nerdy as fuck.
It's cool. I'm going after, what's it called again? An achievement. An achievement that no one has accomplished yet. It will be mine first.
It's very strange, and I'm probably going to regret putting him in the video.
You don't already regret it?
I do. Anyway, we are on to Chapter 7. We're still with Summer. If you remember, somebody definitely got murdered last night, but Summer did not want to find out for sure. So she just let the other girls clean up the house and carried on with her life. Okay, she starts it out by saying, I had been down here for 4 days and every single one of them had been the same. We're not counting the one where he obviously murdered a girl, or maybe that was nighttime, so that the nights are all different, the days are the same. Jane is here, by the way, and so is Kinshu. I don't know if you can see her, but she's right here. So, you know, covered in cats, as usual. So Mr. Rapey man has certain days where he takes the girls into the room and rapes them. Tuesdays is Poppy, Wednesdays is Violet, Sundays is Rose. And our main character knows that she's going to eventually have her own day, so that's going to be terrifying.
This guy's like a machine.
Right? He goes out and he murders prostitutes, and he comes home and he has sex.
I'm always in the mood for raping this one woman on this one day of the week, all the time.
Yeah, man, he's like super OCD, so he's gotta...
Alright. How does he have time for all
I don't know. With good time management, you too could be a crazy woman-hoarding lawyer rapist.
I bet he's not. He's just like a minor lawyer, like he's a divorce lawyer or something like that. Not like a trial lawyer.
Well, I don't think he is a trial lawyer. I think he just works in the law firm. So now she's thinking about, like, how she can, like, maybe she can disassociate well enough until they rescue her. And it's like, girl, rescue your fucking self. Stop this waiting for, oh, my boyfriend's gonna find me. It's been 4 days, and all you have considered is maybe if they bring you a pair of scissors, you would stab him. But they have not brought you a pair of scissors, and you are doing nothing else. So the author tells us about an exchange that happened between our main character, Summer, and Violet, that we don't get to see, but it would have been a really good exchange to see. I'll just read, it's one paragraph, and I don't know why we're not given this scene, we're just told about it. Yesterday, Violet mentioned wanting to get out. She came into the bedroom while I was getting ready for bed, while Rose and Poppy were doing a final wipe down of the counters. They were already sparkling clean. More hyphens, by the way. And said she couldn't do it anymore. The same words she said to me the night something happened. This time, when I asked her what she meant, though, she told me she needs to get out. Needs, not wants. So, like, why didn't we see this exchange happen? Why is it just a paragraph that happened yesterday? They have so many bludgeoning weapons at their disposal. They have pots and pans for cooking as well. But they don't have any knives. So I guess they're screwed. This is one of my least favorite things in books, and maybe it will go away. We're still pretty early in this book, but I hate main characters who don't make things move themselves. And right now, Summer, our main character, waited for Violet to want to escape and Violet to come up with the escape plan rather than doing it herself. And this is just a me thing. Some people don't mind these characters. I don't know, most people would agree that that kind of main character has to be done carefully to keep them engaging to a reader, because if you do have a character who's just reactive and who just goes along with everything, you have to make them interesting to read still. So it can be a real challenge, which I don't think that this author is up to that challenge. Oh my gosh, yeah. They're making like grilled cheese right now or something. They could take a hot frying pan and beat this man. But no, they have no weapons, no possible way of escape.
Hot frying pans would definitely...
Or boil water and throw it on him. Like, you got options. Cellar is plotting out her escape with Violet, and it's a pretty poor escape plan, but hey, at least they're trying to do something. And they know they need the key to the cellar, which the kidnapper man has. And she's like, I watch him every time, and he puts it in his left pocket every time. And so her plan is to hit him over the head with a vase. A vase. Of all the weapon possibilities that they have here, she's going with a vase.
That's what they do in the movies, in those comedy movies all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and she's also got a pair of scissors in her pocket that she managed to just have. They don't have a plan for what if the other two girls try to stop them after they hit him over the head with a vase, which will, oh yeah, sure, totally knock him out. Our main character is smart enough to be like, what if the other girls fight back, but not smart enough to mention it to Violet. So, we'll see how this goes. Ooh, Violet, I think, has gone against her vase plan. She's reaching for a frying pan now, so she did use the frying pan. Smart. Better than the vase. I don't think it's a hot frying pan, though. She hit him on the head and then, like, didn't keep hitting him. She just hit him once, dropped the frying pan, and tried to run, and he was not unconscious by this, so we're going with slightly more realistic. He just, like, staggered a little bit and then grabbed her. So, let this be a lesson to you. Double tap. You hold onto that frying pan and you keep wailing on him until he falls down and stays down. And that's the end of the chapter. He did not get taken out by her one tap with a frying pan, and then they're not going to escape, and she's probably going to get killed, so we get to, like, maybe we'll actually get to see a murder?
Just prostitutes, and the women he rapes obviously like it.
I mean, they're just homeless women. Nobody misses. Like, they don't matter. Our character has a family. That's why she is, like, the main character. She has a family who loves her, and a boyfriend who's totes gonna rescue her. So
Maybe this story is a setup to show you that homeless people do matter, because the homed main character person can't do anything on their own, and it takes the intervention of a homeless, beaten down woman to help lift her out of the rape den. Yeah.
I mean, it was the homeless girl who tried the frying pan thing. She needed to be a bit more fearsome with it, but she needed to try it. Oh, that reminds me of, like, I was watching a true crime thing, because, you know, that's fun, about a serial killer, and he killed women, but the, like, last woman he tried to kill was a prostitute, and she took a glass bottle, and, like, while he was stabbing her, she was beating him as hard as she could. Like, prostitutes, she was like, the second she got in his car and she knew it was going south, she immediately looked around. I need a weapon. There's a glass bottle on the floor. The second he makes a move, I'm going for that weapon. Like, she knew she was in trouble, she made a plan, she executed the plan, and she lived. So, like, don't, like, killing prostitutes is not actually, like, super easy fish in a barrel. Like, they'll fight you. They're ready to have to fight you because their life is so challenging and their job is so challenging, so it's like, it makes it sound like he just goes out and he finds these super easy to kill prostitutes and they don't even, like, hurt him, and in reality they probably would at least hurt him. So, I don't know. This book was obviously written by a teenager. I'm willing to bet money that the person who wrote this was a teenager when they wrote it, so you cannot expect there to be a lot of research or a lot of thought put into it. But that doesn't mean we can't learn something from it. Anyway, any final thoughts? Otherwise, Thanksgiving time.
Thanksgiving time.
Okay. Alright, we are here with Chapter 8 of The Cellar. Adam is here, not much in the frame because he's just working on some programming. And hopefully we won't disturb him too much. He might be quieter than usual, or he might be louder than usual, depending on how the programming goes. So I wanted to say one thing about this book that so far, I mean, we're only on chapter 8, but so far, like, I'm just not feeling it. It's the characters are very surface level and shallow so far, and it's kind of the same thing over and over again. Like, even though we're sort of inching towards something happening, like now her and this girl are going to escape, or try to escape. They're not going to escape. They're totally, I mean, she got overpowered by the guy immediately. But it's going to go back to the status quo of just our main character living in the cellar, thinking the exact same thoughts, wondering if everyone's crazy 80 times, rinse and repeat. And that's what it's been for the past, like, 7 chapters. So I'm hoping that we get some more from the boyfriend, some more from the people trying to rescue her, or she does something else besides just like learning about and surviving in this cellar. So immediately our character started to cry because that is her reaction to things. Anything going badly is to cry. So she's like, oh no, our escape plan has gone badly. I'll immediately begin to cry. In the previous chapter, we had just had Clover grabbing Violet, and the chapter ended with he snatched her arm in his iron grip and she screamed. And then this chapter begins with no mention of where Violet is, and Clover's instead coming after our main character with his knife. What happened to Violet? What happened in between? Where's Violet? Were we meant to understand that she was knocked unconscious? Has she already been killed? What's going on? Oh wait, now Violet is suddenly here. It's not clear actually who he's approaching with the knife. I thought he was approaching our main character because she was reacting as though he was. But now it seems that he's approaching Violet. When you start a new chapter, you can't just assume that the reader will just understand everything that's happening. You kind of have to, like, let us know, place the characters again really quickly in the scene and let us know what's going on. Because last I knew, he was holding her arm. Now he's stabbing Violet, so we have established Violet is who he was going after with the knife. Our main character did nothing to help Violet, by the way. She just stood there and watched and cried as this guy slowly approached Violet and then stabbed her. Also, he stabbed her in the stomach and she was dead immediately, so that's convenient. That's not usually what happens when you stab someone once in the stomach, but
He's an experienced murderer.
he's an experienced murder guy, so I guess. This book does not like to revel in any moments, not the violent moments, not really anything, because like it could have had a really great and gory and scary scene of Violet like dying slowly, but instead she's just like dead, and then Clover leaves immediately, and then a sentence later the girls are like, sit down, Summer, we'll clean this up. And it's just like over so fast. The book does not want to dwell on any of the scary things. It just wants to spend time with our main character asking the same questions in her head over and over and over again. Our main character is so dense though. The girls are like, go get the body bag, which they obviously have a body bag probably hanging in a closet we hadn't been told about so far. And our main character's like, they had done this before. You heard someone getting murdered in the next room the other night, but you were too stupid to figure out that's what it was. Of course they've done this before. You listened to them do this before. Also, the only character who had like any semblance of a personality being Violet, and that personality was very thin, cellophane thin, is now dead. So we are back to square one with these people who just don't have personalities. In the hands of a better author, this could be a really intense book, and these women could be whole people who you really wanted to see rescued and were sad when they died, but they are not in this book. I don't know if it's just a coincidence that, like, for these read-alongs, the 2 books that I've done and I'm doing so far, I definitely thought that the characters were too shallow. If that just means that it's just a preference of mine, or it means that bad books also tend to have shallow characters. Causation, correlation, who knows?
You are happiest when you are saltiest. Read all the bad books.
I think this might be a typo, but I don't know. I stared as they moved in tune, working around one another perfectly. Should it be in tune, or should it be moved in turn? I don't know. Is this like a Britishism that I just don't know as a dumb American? Help me out. Comment below. And then she's like, one of the million questions she's asking in her head, would I have to see something like this again? Well, if you just sit around and do jack shit, yeah. This character is so fucking selfish. Like, she is just upset that Violet is dead because she has to look at Violet, and she did nothing to help Violet, and now she's not even helping clean up.
I'll accept that this character is incompetent, but you can't say they're selfish because they're traumatized by the first dead human they see.
Adam
Up close and
disagrees.
personal.
Adam disagrees.
I don't disagree.
Well, can you at least agree that she's selfish because she just watched Violet get stabbed and did absolutely nothing?
Incompetent? Like, that's not selfish, what you're describing, but...
By the way, this room has got to be just covered in, like, so much trace amounts of blood that they could find, that, forensics could find, because they clean it up with lemon-scented cleaner, so you know it's not getting that blood out for real. We've already reached the end of this chapter, so I might just go on to chapter 9, because this one was really short. It would have been cool, because our main character found out that Violet's old name was Jennifer, I believe. And it would have been cool if in the moment, because our main character's like, oh, they're just treating her like a body, and, thinks of her as, like, being faceless or whatever, and unknown. And it would have been cool if our main character had taken a moment to just be like, goodbye, Jennifer, or something, to show that she, like, appreciates her as a human being versus these other people who don't. That would have been a cool thing I would have maybe liked to see. However, our main character did not do that. And I think we're just going to go on to chapter 9, which is also really short. It's like 5 pages long. But it's in Clover's point of view, so we are probably going to start sympathizing with our murdering rapist now. That's going to be fun. Okay, we're going back in time for the murder rapist, yeah? Okay, this is him. We're watching him build his cellar girl dungeon, and he's going to go buy them some clothes now. We find out his real name is Colin. We're finding out a little bit more about him, that he's got an obsession with purity. Like, he wants pure, untampered with things, so, young girls. Although, our main character, Summer, is the youngest that he's ever captured, so I guess women will do, as long as they are pure, I guess. And he wants to protect his family from the impurities of the outside world, so... his mother is dead. He's going to the graveyard to give her some tulips, which he muses about being pure. And so he's very lonely and sad because his family is dead, and he's going to go make a new one by kidnapping some women. I wonder how he decided that women in a cellar was going to be his perfect family. Maybe he's like an evil polyamorous person. Is this like what a poly person would be like if they turned evil? They just kidnap 3 women and they're like, we're in a polyamorous family now.
I'm gonna say that is a bad parallel.
No, well, if it is true, it's a bad representation. I'm just curious, like, he doesn't view them as sisters, because he has sex with them. He doesn't view them as mothers or anything, so he definitely views them as wives. So...
Does he say that? Or
no,
are we in his perspective?
We are in his perspective, but we haven't gotten to the actual kidnapping of the women yet.
Just read.
I'm curious and speculating. I like to do that before I find out the answer. I like to speculate and see if I'm right.
Just making shit up right now.
I'm speculating to see if I'm right. He does say that he's for sure getting women. Like, he isn't considering boys. He's talking about going to get girls' clothes for his new family. He wants to dress his new girls modestly, because psychos are very into the modesty. He's definitely got that very, I don't want to say incel personality because it's not quite that, but he sees some teenage girls and he judges their revealing and tasteless clothing, and he wants to dress his girls modestly, and it's just that whole, like, purity thing that's just charming in a person. He is judging every single woman he sees, like, from the teenage girls to the store clerk. They are all wearing too scanty of clothes, looking like prostitutes, which is why he probably goes and kills prostitutes, because how dare they wear skimpy clothing. He doesn't like girls that are too skinny, so at least there's that. He likes some curves on a lady, apparently, because he got, like, some larger sizes, because he thinks that smaller sizes are too skimpy for any girls that he would want to get. Okay, so we just followed our villain around as he just basically thought about what he was going to do, bought some clothes for his new family, and then just went and hung up the clothes. And then he had, like, a little bit of a moment where he freaked out because he realized that the flowers that he had put down there in the cellar were already dead. And that's it for that chapter, and then we're back to Summer. So at least we aren't sympathizing with him yet, so that's good. We didn't get a whole lot from that chapter. that we didn't already know, but maybe it's a stepping stone. We're going to figure out more about him later. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe my theory that we're going to try to humanize him isn't going to be as much of a thing, and it's just going to be like finding out about how dark and twisted he is, which again we kind of already know because he just stabbed someone in front of us, but it's fine. We'll find out more in the next chapter, chapter 10. We're back with Summer, and I'm going to let you guys go, and we're going to watch some Star Trek probably.
Booyah!
Yeah. Oh hey, it's Julian Greystoke. Last time I brought you 2 chapters of The Cellar. This time I'm bringing you chapter 10. Adam is not here to save you. He is off playing a D&D with some friends, so it's just us and Summer. Dear sweet Summer. Why is Summer still asking if Clover is insane? So Clover is freaking out because some poppies died. The poppies in the vase have died, and he's freaking the fuck out. And he's yelling at the character Poppy. And we have this line. He slowly walked over to Poppy, watching her like a predator. "You didn't look after them," he growled. "Look after the flowers? Was he actually insane?" wonders our main character. I don't know what to tell you, honey. I don't know what to tell you if you haven't figured out that he is not right in the head by this point. Wow. My question is, does he freak the fuck out every time his vase flowers die? So all he did was slap Poppy, throw the flowers on the floor, and run out of the room like a child having a tantrum.
How could you say that to me?
So I will not be surprised at all if this doesn't happen every time. Our main character has a dream about her boyfriend, and she hopes that means he's going to rescue her soon, and she also resolves, although I don't know if it's going to stick, to play family and go along with everything. She's like, I have to be strong to get out of here. And then immediately afterwards she's like, so I have to play along. Play along and do what? What is your plan? You're clearly not smart enough to escape from here. So what is your plan? She also wonders what would happen if she and the other girls trash the place, but I bet she's not going to try it. She's crying again. Clover left them a newspaper, and the front page is just covered in pictures of her. And also, a little bit of her boyfriend is in one of the pictures, so she's crying. We get a book title. She goes to the bookcase and starts reading The Time Traveler's Wife. Why can't we ever get any movie titles? Just always, we watch this kind of movie. So again, this is so repetitious. It's just, she's afraid, she's super afraid, and then Clover shows up. And then he goes away. Space of time passes. She's very afraid again because Clover's going to show up. But, like, she's never going to do anything different. She never tries anything. She never does anything. This book is not... I don't think this author is skilled enough to be doing the repetition on purpose, to be making us feel like we're living this girl's life. It would be really hard to pull off. I'm not saying it would be impossible, but it would be really hard to pull off without being boring, and it would be take a lot more skill than this particular author has. Stuff needs to change, stuff needs to happen, our character needs to come to decisions or moments or something instead of just the same thing again and again. Ooh, we finally have a movie title. Lewis made them watch The Notebook together, a supreme form of torture, I must say. He is devious. He also complains about the movie the whole time, how there aren't any cars or fights or nudity, but presumably he chose this movie. So... And she's crying again. We end with her crying into her pillow because Clover, like, touched her hair during the movie. And then that's the end of the chapter. This chapter was such a holding pattern. Supposedly our character has decided that she's going to play along, but I will be very surprised if she keeps thinking those thoughts as she goes. And I mean, she already was kind of playing along, so this is not different from what she was already doing. She hasn't changed her behavior really at all. I wish that the author had really thought of more things that could happen, like potentially finding out about these other girls and who they are and getting to know them versus just keeping them as these blank slates that she just makes broad speculations about, like, are they crazy? Is being down here really, does being down here that long really make you, like, wanna follow the ruling of your psychopathic captor? Like, except for she doesn't use such long words. Yeah, it's boring. A book about a girl who's being kidnapped and held in a cellar should not be boring. I really hope that soon... Okay, we are getting Lewis. I was like, I really hope that soon we get a chapter from somebody else, because Summer is the most boring point of view to read from of all time. Anyway, I will see you guys next time for chapter 11. I'm gonna sit right here. That puts me in the center.
Okay, yeah, you are more centered than...
Hey everybody, we're here to make bad choices and read another chapter of The Cellar because the library's gonna want it back eventually, so we should read it. If I start looking off camera and laughing at something, it's because our ferret is out playing in the living room and she's being so fucking cute. Right now, for example, if I turn the camera, she will stop. So, she's off.
They're very photogenic.
Yeah. Adam's here again.
Hello.
Avi's playing with a crinkly thing. Adam was playing XCOM
2.
XCOM 2.
Enemy Unleashed. Or Unknown.
And we're gonna
something.
read some more of this book, because y'all didn't really want to know all that other stuff. You're just here for this book, but we're gonna do it. Chapter 11. Our animals are all being very loud. We will see if this is just a chapter of him pining and remembering what a perfect person his girlfriend was, or if he's actually going to do something that moves the story. Lewis is recapping, like, that it's been 7 days since he lost Summer or whatever, and he hasn't been sleeping, and he says, I looked awful and could see the worry on my family's faces. Rather than saying, I looked awful, give us a couple tidbits of, like, what he actually looks like. Like, is his skin pale? What are the purple, dark circles under his eyes? Give us something versus just saying, I looked awful. You know what would be a lot more interesting than watching them eat dinner and talk about, like, the places that they have searched? Watching them search some of these places. Does this happen often? Lewis is trying to leave to go out on the search again, but he is not being allowed to because they're like, you have to stay and eat. Aha, not until you've eaten. I'm serious, Lewis, Mom said. Her eyes were wide and stern. I felt like a kid being told off for swapping sugar for salt. Is that a common prank? I never did that as a kid. Never even crossed my mind. Is that something kids do? What did the kids do these days? Do they swap sugar for salt? Did you ever do that?
No, but I have one distinct memory of Eric Pagel, a grade school classmate of mine, unscrewing salt lids as a prank.
I mean, that I could see.
At like a McDonald's
that I
or
could see.
Burger King or something.
But, like, swapping sugar for salt, that seems like a really random... Like, why was that, like, the go-to example of a thing that he could be told off for? I feel like this author doesn't really know when to add details, like... Lewis goes back to his house to pick up his brother Leo so they can continue the search. And he pulls up to the house, and we have, I put the car in first, ready to go as soon as he got in. And then later it says, I pulled away as soon as he shut the door. I pulled away as soon as he shut the door is good. But I feel like I put the car in first, ready to go as soon as he got in is an unnecessary detail that we understand by reading, I pulled away as soon as he shut the door. The authors try to put in little details, but I feel like they don't really know what details to put when, if that makes any sense. That's just something that you practice. That's just something that you learn through practice. You figure out what details you need when, what's necessary, and maybe, it's impossible to figure it out completely because there are no rules and everything's made up and the points don't matter. Lewis is fucking judgy. They're out looking and they're wandering around. What?
So are you.
Yeah. No, they're... They're out looking and they're wandering around town, and they stop in this shady parking lot, and he says, a couple of teens sat on the doorstep of a piercing shop, giggling to themselves. Hi, no doubt. Judgy, Lewis, dang. Later, he calls them low-life scum. Because they're getting high outside of a shop? What? Dude. Lewis takes with him a bag full of Summer's favorite foods. Like malt balls, gummy bears, Cadbury's fruit and nut bar, and gingerbread men. And all I can think is he intends to lure her out like a missing cat with her favorite foods.
Sounds reasonable to me.
Here's Summer, here's your gingerbread men, come out.
If you got a Cadbury egg for you, you'd be...
I'd come out of wherever I was hiding. I'd be like, what's that? Chocolate?
I don't know where she'd be hiding that she'd need to be lured out, but...
He doesn't know either. He's just bringing this bag of her favorite things in case, I guess, he finds her hiding under a house.
They're like it's like a lure in Pokemon. You put it out, more Pokemon show up.
Oh, so she's just gonna leave it somewhere and she's just gonna...
Yep.
Girls named Summer are gonna start appearing, eating the gingerbread men. So we got the end of chapter 11, and I'm just gonna go on to chapter 12 because it's only like 3 pages long. These chapters are really, really short, which again is proof that this used to be an internet story because a lot of times with internet stories, the author wants to get out a lot of chapters in a very short amount of time. So the chapters, A, tend to be repetitive, as we have seen, and B, tend to be very short because you want to just pump out that content for your waiting readership. So, rabid fan base. So we're just going to go on to chapter 12, which is from Clover's point of view, and we are back with him when he is presumably getting ready to kidnap some girls, or has already kidnapped some girls, or we'll find out. This guy has mommy issues. He's finding his first victim, I believe, and he said, smiling at the most beautiful creature I had ever seen. I would never admit it aloud, but she eclipsed my mother with her looks. Whoa, we got a real...
Baby, you're hotter than mommy.
We got a real Bates situation going on here. Norman Bates or whatever.
I hope they are watching. They'll see. They'll see and they'll know. And they'll say, why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.
Julian from the future here, because you know it isn't a video until Julian from the future butts in. The people of Goodreads seem to agree, and while this is just sort of speculation on their part, people who have read more of this author's books seem to think that yes, she really does find Norman Bates to be an interesting and potentially attractive person, and therefore creates a lot of villains that are basically him. Avi is here, and Clover is getting his first victim. His real name is Colin, and he introduces himself, like, he finds this runaway, like, huddling in a doorway, and he introduces himself as Colin, not Clover. And one would think if he really wants to get her started, you know, being indoctrinated to him, he would give her his fake name. So apparently, Clover here has been exposed to two types of women, his overbearing mother and prostitutes, and that is it. Like, he says that this homeless woman that he's found is nothing like the women he's used to, and then he just basically explains that, yes, he has met no other kinds of women. This is fucking convenient. So he convinces her to go with him to the van, but once they get to the van, she realizes what's happening to her, that she's being kidnapped, and rather than him having to do anything violent, she just fucking faints. On her own. She realizes that she's being kidnapped. What?
Well, you see, he has it on easy mode at the moment.
Oh, okay. This Violet, this first Violet that he's kidnapped, is a lot like Summer because she has offered no resistance and mostly just cried. His idea of family is very poorly defined. He doesn't really want them to be sisters. He definitely doesn't want them to be wives because Violet asks if she's expected to bear him children, and he's like, no, he's disgusted by that prospect. So he just views a family as a group of people, a group of him and 4 kidnapped women that live in a cellar together. That's his definition of family.
Well, we will probably discover that their mother sexually abused them.
Probably.
And so they're used to the parent is in charge and demanding and domineering, and then everyone else just caters to their whims.
So you think that he sees himself as the parent?
Now that mom is gone, yeah.
Okay, and so, like, they are kind of his daughters, but in the twisted way that he would view daughters, that of sexual objects.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I don't know, what do you guys think out there? Do you think this author is going to be skilled enough to go there, or do you just think that she's going to be like, yeah, he had a domineering mother, and now he's evil?
It's what domineering women do. Take a lesson, internet viewers. Never be a domineering woman.
You'll make someone evil. This girl's eyes keep widening and widening. Like, every other paragraph, her eyes widen again. I assume her eyeballs are just, like, sticking out of her face like a fucking pug at this point. Right, and that's the end of that chapter. It's just a very short. He very, very easily kidnaps a homeless girl with minimal effort. She doesn't fight back. She conveniently faints right when he needs her to. So the easiest kidnapping probably in the history of kidnappings, and that includes kidnappings of very small children. So that was that chapter, and I will see you guys again for whatever chapter comes next. Wait.
Because I don't know, because I don't math.
It's summer again. We're back to summer. I wanted to find out which character it was. Hey everyone, welcome back to Reading the Cellar. I am here with Avi the ferret, who is destroying everything I love by knocking it on the floor. But she's so cute. Okay, alright, we're done. We're done playing, Mommy. Shit to do. Things to knock over. We are back with Summer, and we're back in the present. So let's find out. She just fell off the couch and landed on her head. Abby doesn't know any other way to land except for directly on her head. It's okay, she's a ferret, they're made of rubber. So again, our hero, she takes a moment to reiterate that she has to keep going, has to keep striving because someone is going to rescue her. I'm not saying that if you were in a real kidnap situation that it would be easy to motivate you to rescue yourself, but like a character in a fiction story who has absolutely no intention of rescuing herself and just plans to go along with it in hopes that someone will save her, it's just not an engaging story to me. We're getting the same thing that has been happening in every chapter. Clover's talking to them, and Summer's just going through her usual litany of things that she thinks about him, nothing new or interesting there. And then she's thinking about like ways that he might give himself away to the world. And he says he's going to go buy them some new clothes, probably because she doesn't really have clothes that are hers. She's wearing someone else's clothes. And she's like, oh, well, maybe he'll get noticed for buying a bunch of women's clothes. But then she says, although they would probably think he was a cross-dresser, after all, that was easier to assume than what was really going on. I don't think I would think anything. Like, if I saw a guy buying a bunch of women's clothes, if I was working in a shop, I wouldn't even stop to consider, like, I'm just like, he's buying clothes, whatever. My first thoughts would not be he must be a cross-dresser and he's kidnapped girls. Like, those are not the two things that I would think of at all. But Summer is a bit of an oddball, so she would think that those are like the two options. We're getting a little bit of some hints about Rose. Our main character is noticing that maybe Rose really does like Clover, maybe even loves Clover, like maybe they even love each other. And Rose is as obsessed with keeping the place clean as Clover is. I would not be surprised if we find out later that Rose maybe is the first Violet or something like that. I don't know if that makes sense, or she's one of the first. Maybe she's the first Rose. Maybe she's not the first Violet. So we've had a very, very first sign of any kind of backbone from our heroine. Rose wants to call her Lily, and she refuses to be called Lily, and she has a stare down with Rose and wins the stare down. And Rose, gives up in that moment. So our heroine has made one tiny fractional step. Now, just now, she is realizing that there might be other weapons in the house. She's like, for some reason now, after this morning she decided that she just had to go along with everything to be rescued. Now she's pissed off that no one will help her escape. She says, this was stupid. There were 3 of us and 1 of him. We could smash him over the head with something. A chair, the TV, anything. But I couldn't do it alone. Why didn't you think of that at any point before now? You were all keen to escape as long as, Violet did the bludgeoning, and she used, like, the worst possible of all of the weapons around her. Still nobody's thinking of the pots and pans. Like, why? They're perfect weapons. Why is nobody thinking of them? That she's like, we're gonna use the TV. Boiling water in his face, that's all I'm saying. Summer, you're so fucking judgy. One of the girls is like, hey, we're gonna knit. Do you want to join? And old Summer's like, I don't know how to knit. I'm 16, not 60. Wow. Lots of 16-year-olds knit, bitch. And now she's gonna cry because they want to knit. Because they're knitting instead of trying to escape. Summer. Oh my gosh, Summer. Summer's also very judgy about whether Clover would knit. Because they say that they make the girls knit things and then Clover donates them to charity. And Summer's like, ooh, well, maybe someone will realize that a grown man bringing a bunch of knitting to charity is weird. And they'll figure out that he's a weirdo that way. And it's like, grown men also knit! Bitch! I know she's a teenager, and teenagers can be kind of not tuned in to the way the world is, but like, people knit. All kinds of people knit. And if the charity's being stereotypical, they might be like, oh, his mother likes to knit and he brings in the things to give to charity. What? Summer, you baffle me. You baffle me. Summer has a physical reaction which is very similar every time that Clover shows up. Which, I mean, I understand what the author is trying to do. She's trying to show that Summer is still disgusted by him, that she doesn't find this normal. But Summer has essentially the exact same reaction every single time he shows up, and that's really boring to read. I like this line. I'm going to show you a line that I actually like. They're looking at their new clothes, and Summer doesn't want to get any closer to him, but she says, the room was too small to be far enough away from him as I wanted. Wherever I was too close. I like that line. That's a good, solid little line that shows you her disgust for him without being overt about it. There's a little bit of potential fat shaming here. He's bought all the girls the same size clothes, and they're too big for our main character, and she freaks out because she thinks that he wants them all to be that size, which would be horrible. Oh no, heaven forfend. So we have a little gap in time, and once again, Summer is trying to knit, and she hates it, and she's terrible at it. It would have been so nice for Summer to have something, anything, that could help us, like, relate to her. She could knit a weapon. She could knit something, like, to strangle him with. Like, that's what I want. That's what this story should do. Summer's like, wait, I'm going to knit a strangling noose and kill him. I don't understand what this line means. Okay, so they're hanging out, and Summer's looking at a newspaper with a picture of her boyfriend on it because she is still front page news in this town. And Clover comes back, and he's got a prostitute with him, and he, like, throws her down the stairs, and he's calling her names, and he says, filthy whore. And then she says, like when he said bastard, whore didn't sound like his word. It was like when a 10-year-old called someone hot. What does that mean? What is it? Is there a certain way that 10-year-olds call people hot that's different to how other people would do it? Like, I don't really understand what that exactly means. Like, I know it's supposed to mean that it sounds awkward coming from him, but awkward how? What does that sound like? So he's killed another prostitute, and now the girls have to clean it up, and I'm just wondering, where is he hiding all these prostitute corpses? Because he seems to do this pretty frequently, and he brings them here to kill them, which I guess is smart, because, like, if you got a cellar, you might as well, you know, make it both your prison cellar and your murder cellar, whatever. But where is he putting the bodies? That's what I want to know. So he's just got a mass prostitute grave in his backyard that no one has noticed. That is the most suspicious thing that he is doing, is getting rid of these corpses. She's all like, him buying women's clothing and giving away knitting to charities is suspicious activity, when in reality the suspicious activity is, how is he burying these people without anyone noticing? Presumably burying. Maybe he just throws in the trash. Any way you slice it, there are a lot of hooker corpses out there that nobody has, like, noticed. So that's all of that chapter. Next chapter, we're back with Clover. Possibly get to meet Rose, maybe, and find out what was up with her. But I'm going to stop now because I have other things I want to get done today. And I will see you guys when I see you for our next chapter. Hey everybody, it is shout out time again. Time to shout out to my patrons, Amanda, Ashley, Celia, Kim, Lisa, Ramona, Sabby Panda, and Sarah. And if you want to be great like these amazing people, then become my patron over on Patreon.